country mile.
Your glove never touched me. Never touched me.
Here, you wouldn't know.
Oh,
you're
Oh, come on. No more arguments for this afternoon.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you enjoy, put away the bats and the gloves, and then we can celebrate our victory with a nice cold soda.
Sounds like fighting words to me. Go get him.
Yeah. Seems like every day is Thanksgiving Day now that Clint is back.
If only Bo were here.
He will be, Asa. He wouldn't miss this family reunion for anything in the world.
Another 10 minutes, I was gonna go over to the ranch and wring your lousy neck for you.
Money doesn't grow on trees, George. I had to do some real fancy talking to the banker to meet your latest demands.
You better tell me you were successful.
That's why I'm here. Timing was a little better this time. So, I've got a passport, I've got ID, I've got cash. Not so fast, pal. You got something for me, too, you remember?
They're all there.
How do I know that?
You just gotta take my word for it.
Your word isn't worth zip, George. And I want you to get something straight. If I get a call from you in maybe a month or two and you tell me that all of a sudden you've decided that you've got a third set of the copies of these pictures you stole from that family album, you are a dead man.
Damn it, I told you I ain't looking to get rich. I got 100 thou, and there better be another 50 grand in that envelope. That'll do me for a long, long time.
Okay. It's all there, George.
Mm-hmm.
You can trust me. A little something else for your trip.
What the hell is this?
That's your new look. At least until you get out of the state. Now just get your bags packed. Because there's a flight to New York in an hour and a half. Then you can get a flight out of the country. You'll be on that plane.
Any sign of Vasquez?
Not yet. Richards just checked in from the lobby and Sears from the back entrance.
Tell them not to call you unless they spot Vasquez.
Yes, sir. Everything ready?
Yeah.
His temperature's up to 104. Get a cooling blanket.
Oh, no. What's the matter now?
Let them do their work. When they get a chance, they'll talk to us.
No, I want to know what's going on. What's the brain?
We need a full lab workup. Get a tech up here. Stat.
Is he going to die?
Miss Holden, will you please wait outside in the corridor?
No.
Gabrielle, come
I
on.
want to know the truth. Is Steve dying? Is he?
Here's what you do when you don't find the rainbows in.
Mrs. Holden, will you please wait outside? I'll call you if there's any change.
What good were all of our prayers? They weren't answered. They were useless.
We don't know that. The doctor said this crisis could last a couple of hours.
Or it could end abruptly, which it's about to do.
Oh, no, his blood pressure is still very high. The blanket should bring his temperature down. But there is no sign of neurological change, and that's good.
If his heart stops, it won't make any difference.
Mrs. Holden, we're doing everything we can for your husband.
Well, it's not enough, is it? It's never enough. That's what you're really trying to say.
I can't predict what will happen. All we can do is we can try to manage each crisis as it occurs.
I want to hold him. I want to be with him.
I understand. But now we have to draw some blood for cultures, run a blood gas, some other tests. We have to do all kinds of things, and he's also being given massive doses of antibiotics.
So don't you give up. He's gonna make it. I know it.
Oh, yeah, for how long? Until the next crisis pushes him further into a coma and then he ends up totally brain dead? How much more do we have to take? I wish I was in that bed.
Mr. Holden. His blood pressure's still going through the roof. Now there's a problem with the fever.
Doc Brady's one of the best.
Oh, yeah, with all of his talent and know-how, it hasn't helped so far.
He's gotten Steve this far. He's gonna pull him out of this. What's going on with Steve's old room?
That's quiet for now. I understand you had trouble with one of our officers earlier today.
She got a little carried away with her mission. You want to keep your SWAT team away from Steve and us?
Now, look, I have to have an officer disguised as a nurse in your brother's room for his protection. I want you and Mrs. Holden to leave the hospital.
What?
Look, the latest news bulletin on your brother's condition will state that he will talk to the police in the morning. If Vasquez makes his move, it'll be tonight. I want you to take her to the ranch or to a hotel.
No, I'm not leaving him.
If Vasquez goes to Steve's old room, you got 2 cops there.
Yeah, but if there's trouble, you two will be caught in the middle. We have to stick to the original plan.
To hell with Vasquez and to hell with your plan. My husband is dying. Do you understand that? And I'm not going to let you or Vasquez or anyone keep me from being with him.
I'm sorry. Look, I understand. But if Vasquez is as desperate as we think he is, there's no telling what he might do.
I'll try and talk with Gabrielle, but I'm not promising anything. Because I don't want to leave again either.
I know. I just can't risk your safety or hers.
Gabrielle wishes it was herself in that bed. The one who ought to be in there's George Vasquez.
It's all there, George. Now, come on, get a move on.
Don't push me.
Listen. You wanted a passport. I got you a passport. You want more money. I got you money, IDs, everything. I've given in to every demand that you've made, and then some. Now, I want you to get out of here before the cops catch up with you.
What about Holden?
Forget about Holden. He's not your problem anymore.
Yeah, well, if he spills his guts to the cops like the radio says he's gonna do, he's gonna be our problems, both of ours. And if he fingers me, buddy boy, I'm gonna finger you.
If you're out of the country, it doesn't matter how much talking he does. Now, you go find someplace nice and safe, and you're gonna be home free. You keep hanging around here, George. You've got nothing but trouble. Now, here, get this disguise, get it on, and get out of here. The party is over.
What a fine party it was. I never had so much fun in my life watching you squirm the last few weeks. It was a better high than any drug. Only thing is, I'm gonna crash real bad. I'll miss it so much.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't worry about it, George, because I'm sure you're gonna find somebody else to blackmail.
Matter of fact, I got a couple ideas in mind already. But it just won't be the same. Won't be as easy either. Getting the cooperation I got from you. But then most men don't have as much to lose as you do they, Mr. Buchanan?
Get packed and get out of here. Now, I got my own flight to catch.
You run along. And have a safe trip.
You know the difference between a winner and a loser, George? See, a winner knows to quit when he's ahead. You've made so many stupid mistakes. But right now, you've got a chance to be a winner. Don't blow it.
Joanna, dear.
In the study, Daddy.
Oh, welcome home, darling. Oh, I do apologize for not meeting you at the airport. Those dullards from the Netherlands monopolized my entire day and evening.
It's perfectly all right. I had a lovely evening. Unwinding for my trip, soaking all that dreadful dust from my skin.
And preparing for Robert's visit.
Ah, Jarvis told you.
Is Robert coming to London on business?
He's coming to see me, Daddy. He is my fiancé.
Yes. A fiancé who has neglected you lately.
No doubt. Once we're married, we'll settle into a more conventional lifestyle.
Yes, with lots of children. I hope.
Do you want me to marry to be happy or simply to give you grandchildren? Huh?
Nothing in this world is more important than your happiness, Joanna. I was beginning to fear that perhaps there would be no wedding after all. That perhaps something had gone wrong?
You should know better than that. Not only does Lord Henry Layton always get what he wants, so does his daughter.
Lady Joanna, the dressmaker's assistant has just arrived with the frocks you requested.
At 10 in the evening?
And I can't greet my fiancé in something he's seen before now, can I?
Lord Layton, what makes you so sure that my father's enemies won't find him?
My dear boy, those were his words, not mine. He seems quite convinced. I understand your feelings, Robert. You find it hard to believe such things can happen. But Alex didn't lie to you. His enemies are ruthless people who'll stop at nothing to have their revenge. Since Alex testified against them, they'll come after you because you're his son. Whether they kill him or not.
Unless I have your protection.
I'm afraid so. And I do have the kind of power it takes.
Yes, that's what my father said.
You also heard him saying he's leaving you a fortune. He wants to make up for all the lost days between you.
I don't want his money.
Nevertheless, I gave him my solemn promise that I would protect his money and you. He's an old dear friend, Robert. I could do no less.
But you can only protect me if I marry Joanna.
As my son-in-law, no one would ever dare try to hurt you. Joanna is very much in love with you, you know. And she thinks you're in love with her.
Yes, I know.
Isn't it true? Are you trying to tell me you don't care for Joanna?
No, sir. I care for her very much. It's Joanna I'm thinking of. I'm not so sure I would make good husband material.
Nonsense. There's no such thing. With the right woman. And I believe Joanna is the right woman for you.
I can see that you love your daughter very much.
Joanna is the only really important thing in my life. And I would move heaven and earth to make her happy.
I'm sure you would.
Your father feels the same way about you, Robert. He wants you protected. To die, knowing you'll never have to live in fear.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing at Heathrow shortly. Please fasten your seatbelts and remain in your seats until we arrive at the terminal.
Vicky, I think I'm going to take little Clint and go back to Landfair. I mean, Cord's acting like I'm not even here, and Ace is being rude to me, like on purpose.
Don't you think you're overreacting a little bit?
No. No, I'm not. I mean, Cord has said maybe 2 words to me, and what Ace has said, it hurts too much to repeat it.
Well, I think that Cord has been very excited to have his father back, alive and well. I think that's the only thing he can concentrate on. And as for Asa, well, this has been a very emotional time for him. Besides the fact that he still has the residual effects of the drug in his system. I'm sure he didn't mean to hurt you. And if I have neglected you a little bit, well, I'm sorry about that, too. Come on now, stay for supper. Do it for me and for Clint, all right?
Well, at this rate, we're not going to eat till midnight.
Trust me, Cord. The charcoals will be ready in 15 minutes. I'm an expert at the art of barbecue. And Vicky, tell him. The time at the ranch in Arizona when we had all the neighbors over for the shindig.
Which shindig, Asa?
Oh, honey, we celebrated the annexation of Texas. We celebrate that every year. The old barn, we dug the long pit, threw the mesquite in, the meat on top, covered it, let it cook all day. Kevin and Joey were the size of our hound dogs. They were scampering around helping the hands make the sauce.
Oh, that was in Texas. And the boys were Bo and I.
Well, I'm sure Vicky was there. She had on a checkered apron, and you were dishing out the beans and the potato salad. Vicky, wasn't the apron checkered?
Yes, yes, I'm sure it was, yeah.
See? That was the best barbecue ever that day. You know, we should have one this summer.
That's a mighty fine idea, Pa, and we'll do it upright, too.
Honey,
Yeah?
were you able to reach Gabrielle?
No, but I told the nurse that we were sending our love and prayers, and I'm sure she'll pass it on to Gabrielle and Max.
You know, I talked to Max yesterday, and he said that Steve is showing a little improvement, and they're hoping that he'll come out of his coma soon.
That's wonderful news, huh?
It would be a miracle considering his condition. I mean, Gabrielle was so worried that he'd spend the rest of his life in a coma or worse.
This family has survived on miracles. Let's hope the Holdens are as fortunate as we are.
Amen to that.
All clear.
This is ridiculous.
Listen, if Vasquez sees us in or near this room, he may figure out that we moved Steve, and then he'll know we set a trap for him.
He can't hurt us any more than he already has, Max.
Steve is gonna make it through this.
It's been too long. If that medicine were going to make any difference, I'm sure we would have seen it by now. Maybe we should let go.
No, not ever.
His blood pressure's down. He's stabilized. Miss Holden, he's past the crisis.
What'd I tell you? All right, Steve, thanks, Doc. Thanks a million.
Is it any damage?
Not that we can determine. Of course, when he regains consciousness, if he does.
Of course he will. Steve's gonna hang in there all the way, all right. Listen, I gotta call Detective Johnson. You just stay right there, okay? It's over. He's gonna make it. So what's the word on Vasquez? Oh, he'll show up. Just want you to know if you guys don't get him, I will.
Son, you know, I'm real proud that you never gave up on me and that you helped keep your mother's hopes up, too.
Yeah, but how do you suppose you woke up in a house with people that look just like your 1888 relatives?
I don't know. It's so amazing that I don't have the vaguest idea how to explain it.
No, I'd like to meet those people sometime.
You would?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a nice idea. Honey!
What are you doing?
Yeah. Sweetheart, you know, we were in such a hurry to get back to Landview that we never really properly thanked the McGillises for everything they did for us. What do you think about giving them a call and inviting them over to Landview?
All right, that's a neat idea. Oh, will you do it, Mom?
Sure, I'll do it. Why not? Come on, let's clean this up.
Hello?
Hey, Clint, it's Bo. Listen, I wanted to let you know I haven't forgotten about that family get-together. And I'm back in town, so I'll be there just as soon as I can get up there.
Where you been?
To the ranch in Arizona. I'll explain it all when I see you.
Oh, did you see Gabrielle and Max?
Yeah, they were there when I arrived.
Bo, have you lost your mind? You were a sitting duck for Vasquez.
Clint, I'm telling you, George Vasquez was not after me. Now, that's some crazy idea that Asa latched onto, and he just won't let go of it. That just proves the damage that drug did to him, whether he wants to admit it or not. And besides, George has got to know that the police are after him. I'll bet he's out of the country by now.
He cannot stay here. It's too dangerous.
I'm not leaving him. Every time I leave him, something happens to him.
What good will you be to your husband if something happens to you or to Max? You just can't stay here.
Why can't I stay in the room? You've got a nurse in there who's a qualified policewoman. Surely I'd be safe.
Look, we're wasting time here.
That's a good compromise. We'll stay out of sight.
Not in your brother's room. I only have Officer Brennan in there to look after it.
Well, then why can't I stay here?
Because you need to get some sleep. That's your brother-in-law's orders. Listen, you think you can spend the night in a hospital gown here?
Doesn't matter to me.
Listen, you go get something to eat. I will see if I can get us a couple rooms for the night.
All right. You will promise me that if there's any change in his condition, that you'll come and find me immediately.
It's a deal.
Can I get you anything to eat?
No, thanks.
I'll arrange for the rooms.
Thanks.
Mr. Robert, Lady Joanna will be down shortly.
Thank you.
Robert, darling. Oh, my God, how I missed you.
Joanna?
Oh, I'm so happy you're still wearing that same wonderful cologne. You know, there's a flower in Africa that smells quite like it. And every time I passed one, I almost went wild with the knowledge that I'd see you soon. Shall I stir up a pitcher of martinis for us?
No, thank you. It's pretty late.
1:30 a.m. That's usually the middle of the evening for us, darling.
Yes, we've had a long flight from Kenya, and my flight felt like it took days.
That's what happens when you can't wait to see someone. Dear, I've neglected to tell you how terribly sorry I am about your father.
Thank you.
Must have been dreadful for you. I do so wish I could have been with you in the States to comfort you during your period of grief, but we're together now. That's all that matters.
You look beautiful, as always.
Isn't this a smashing creation? I discovered this wonderful new dressmaker before I went off on safari, and she whipped up a few things for the round of parties we'll somehow have to endure. It seems as if everyone we know has planned a luncheon or a dinner or a dance for us. I did manage to keep the celebrations to a minimum, though, the week of the wedding, so we don't fall flat on our faces from exhaustion in the cathedral.
Joanna, when I called from Lambview and said that we had to talk, I intended it to be a two-way conversation. Now, if I can get a word in edgewise...
Well, of course, but after I tell you all the plans I've made. Daddy spoke, a few weeks ago with the Archbishop, and he's rearranged his schedule so he can perform the ceremony. Wasn't that dear of him? Robert?
There's not going to be a ceremony, Joanna. I can't go through with it. I can't marry you.
The most...
Whatever you're talking about, Robert. We've been planning our wedding for months. Well, it's true that I've taken care of most of the details.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to do this to you. I care for you, and I don't want to hurt you. But so much has happened since I left London.
Are you still in mourning for your father? Is that it?
Joanna, the whole thing was such a nightmare. Knowing that my father had been killed, not being able to prove it, and then finding his body, and then looking for his killers.
It must have been quite an ordeal, but you survived, darling.
I have always heard about people who have faced death and survived it, and how they reevaluated their lives, their priorities. That happened to me. For the first time in my life, everything came into focus, and I knew what I wanted. Maybe I just grew up finally, a little late maybe, but I've changed, Joanna.
Are you saying that you want to put the wedding off for a while so that you can experience life more fully, that you're not ready to settle down?
No, I am ready.
I'm trying to understand, Robert. Really, I am, but I'm afraid you've lost me.
I guess there's no easy way to say this. I'm back with my ex-wife. As soon as I return home, I plan to ask her to marry me again.
The hell with your near death and resurrection. You proposed to me. My father's planning to walk down the cathedral aisle with me while our hundreds of friends and invited guests including royalty, offer us their prayers and good wishes.
I know this comes as a shock to you.
Shock doesn't begin to describe what I'm feeling. I love you. I love you more than I've ever loved anyone in my life. You said you loved me. Was that a lie? Did you catch me on the rebound from your precious Cassie? Was I just an interesting diversion until you could romance your ex-wife again?
No. You were never a diversion. I had feelings for you, but I was always in love with Cassie. I thought I was over it, and I tried, but I was wrong. I know this isn't fair to you, and I apologize.
I don't want your bloody apologies. I want you out of my house now.
Joanna, if you would just let me explain
Just get
this
out!
to you. I can't leave you like this.
I can't bear to look at your deceitful face another second.
All right, I'm going. But I'll be back. I'm sorry.
Jarvis said that Robert had arrived. I thought I heard the sound of hijinks coming from your study. Joanna. Why are you crying? Where's Robert? Now. Whatever the problem, I'm sure we can find a way to resolve it. How did you acquire this?
A private investigator in Landview.
Ah, Cord, come on in. I want to get a cup of coffee from the kitchen and wait for my kid brother.
All righty. So, did you have a nice walk?
No, not really.
No, I don't think Tina's having a heck of a good time either. I know it's none of my business, Cord, but could I offer a few words of advice?
Okay, go ahead, shoot.
You have your reasons to be upset with Tina, and they're very valid. I know that. Heaven knows I wasn't particularly pleased with the timing of her donation to the museum.
Excuse me, this is her bribe we're talking about,
Okay,
right?
whatever you want to call it. That's between you and Tina, and whether or not you resolve it, that's up to you, too. But do you really think it's fair to just ignore her and act like she's not there? That's really not like you.
I'm sorry, I guess I didn't actually know I was doing that. And you're right. I think it's time that she and I had a talk.
Thank you. Oh, sweetheart. I saved some brownies for us. Let's go eat them before the children find them.
You don't want to snuggle up on the couch?
No, I'm going to sit with you in the kitchen.
Vicky said you wanted to talk to me.
Yeah, Tina, listen, I guess I should apologize for the way I've been treating you today. You know, the whole point of getting together was to share in the happiness of having Clint back home with us. And it looks like all we've been sharing is cold stares and a lot of grief and tension.
It's not very good for the baby.
It's not very good for us either. I personally hate it.
Yeah, well, then why don't we just put all that behind us and just pick up where we left off?
You know, Tina, it's a mighty big step between talking calmly like this and picking up where we left off.
It's not such a big step. I mean, we're going to get married in a couple of weeks.
Listen, Tina, in light of everything that has happened...
Look, Cord, I never meant to hurt you.
Yeah, well, you never mean to hurt me, Tina, but somehow it just happens. I mean, you don't know how humiliating it is to have my face plastered over the cover of this National Intruder. I don't know how I can just forget something like that.
I know that it must have been awful for you.
Listen, Tina, I'm not trying to punish you or anything like that. I'm just trying to get some things set in my own mind.
What things?
I'm trying to figure out if I'm ever going to be able to trust you again, girl. I'm trying to figure out if you're just talking about changing all the time, as you've talked about hundreds of times before, but you just never seem to do it. I mean, it's always the same thing. You're always going back to your old tricks all the time.
Look, if you just give me a chance, I can show you I've changed.
Tina, I don't want to hurt you. I don't. But I don't want to be hurt again either. I need some more time. Tell you what, why don't we just call it a truce between us right now? And we can all go our separate ways and then try to figure out exactly how we feel about each other.
I already know how I feel.
You still wearing your gun?
Yes, and I'll use it if I have to. But there's no way Vasquez can know your brother's in this room.
Oh, how's Gabrielle?
You sure you won't change your mind? I can send you both home in a squad car.
No way, we're staying, and I want to know the second you catch Vasquez.
Now, that is exactly the kind of problem I'm trying to avoid. You blow up and go after Vasquez, you're going to wind up in one of those hospital beds, too.
Okay, you're all set. The hospital administrator cleared 2 rooms down there for you and Mrs. Holden. They're right down the hall.
Thanks, Doc. I appreciate you pulling a few strings.
Good luck, Detective. Hope you get your man.
I'll wait here for Gabrielle.
Now, look, that is exactly the kind of thing. I am not blowing smoke here. Your brother and your sister-in-law need you alive.
I'm not going to get hurt.
Now, listen, when she gets back, I want you to go to your room and stay there.
Listen,
no excuses. No excuses. Do you understand me?
Fine.
If Vasquez does make it to this floor, no one is safe.
Now it... Oh, finally, the whole clan is here. Where were you all day, Bo?
I just, I had some business to take care of. You know what? I understand, though. I missed one heck of a softball game, didn't I?
I'm glad you weren't here. It would have been a free-for-all.
Tina. Well, hi. I'm surprised to see you. I'm very happy, but I'm a little bit surprised. I thought you were going to be hanging around Landfair.
Well, I wanted to be here for Vicky and Clint.
How did we manage to run out of ice? Have we been drinking that much?
Paul, we never filled up the ice bucket. Here, let me have it.
No, I'll do it. You visit with your brother. Excuse me.
Well, that tells me you've been at the ranch, huh?
Yeah. Ace has gotten the ranch hands all riled up over this attack on Steve, so I just flew out there to try to straighten things up. I really didn't want to have to admit that Asa was suffering from being drugged, but there's no other way to explain his behavior. And I told him if they got any other strange orders like that from him, just check in with me.
Well, now they can check in with me.
Well, yeah, of course. But you know what? Don't even mention this to Asa. It's only going to upset him, and I doubt that he remembers talking to the foreman in the first place.
What did I tell you about your brother, Bo?
Oh, that you couldn't have survived these past few months without him?
Mm-hmm. And without his love?
Yeah, he kept us all together.
Now, come on, you two. Really, it was no big deal, Clint. All I did was exactly what I knew you would do.
No, Bo, you were incredible. You were loyal and supportive and helpful, and you just instinctively seemed to know when we needed the help, and you offered it very freely.
Well, I'll tell you, my family's happiness means everything to me.
Well, you proved that to me, Bo. Putting up with my temper and harsh words to save my life. Clint's return was a godsend. So was yours, son, for all of us.
How is he?
No change.
Visiting hours are over. Nurses and orderlies are changing shift. If my hunch is right, Vasquez will try to come in when they're arriving. You better go to your rooms.
Where are they?
Just down the hall. Stay there until you get the green light from one of my men.
I understand.
Okay, let's go.
See you in the morning, Steve. Happy dreams.
I love you, darling. Detective Johnson, thank you. And good luck. Good night, Max.
Right. Vasquez shows up, I want to know about it right away. I don't want to hear about it after you carted him back to jail.
I'll keep you posted.
Thanks.
Lord Henry?
We can dispense with the usual courtesies. Gentlemen, extend one another.
I guess you've already spoken with Joanna. I know what I've done seems cruel and unfeeling, but we've always been honest with each other, and I had to tell her the truth.
The truth is this, Robert Coronel. Your father was a trusted friend of mine for many years. My friendship for him remained steadfast until the day he died. And when he died, I was his only friend.
Yes, sir, I'm aware of...
Relationships of that nature endure for only one reason. They are built on trust and honor. Never once in your father's lifetime did I ever doubt his word. Never once did he break a promise to me, or I to him. He asked me to protect you from his enemies for the remainder of your life. I agreed on the one condition that you make my daughter happy by marrying her.
Lord Henry, a marriage vow is as sacred to me as your word is to you. I can't stand before the Archbishop and make empty promises to Joanna. Now, I care very deeply for her, but I'm in love with Cassie, and Cassie is the woman I am going to marry.
If you do marry Cassie, you will regret it the rest of your life.